Welcome to Nutty Buddy Entertainment. The Great.
But anyway, okay, let's get into The Great. Let's start with the review. We'll get into some specifics of the series. Let's start with Brian. Brian, what was one great you had in the Book of Boba Fett?
Just Din coming in, saving the series. He was just any scene with him that came in. I think episode 5 is when he started in, and yeah, that just it picked up from there.
Yeah, I like that one too. I liked the opening scene when him coming in to collect the bounty, yes. And I was just like, why couldn't that have been a scene with Boba Fett? Why couldn't they made Boba Fett that cool? Yeah. But I'm with you on that. Yeah,
the best scene in the whole series, in my opinion, was that one.
It's definitely
agree,
up there, but not a lot of competition to be fair. Travis, what about you? What's one great you had?
I would have to agree, and I'm gonna add Grogu to that as well. Him being in there, I'll get into one of the uglies, but when he does stuff, it's actually funny or cute, and an ugly I won't get too much into it, but it's them trying to be funny has been forced too much in this. So Grogu does a great job of that, but I thought that was good, so I'll give a different one. The dark saber. I thought sweet. Being in there, and Ryan, I know you like to see guys being trained with stuff and not just immediately learning how to use it. And the fact that Mando couldn't figure it out and he still hasn't quite got it down yet just goes to show that there's still a lot that can be told with him wielding the dark saber. So I thought that was good that they incorporated that in there.
Yeah, that was sweet. I love the training with him, and then the training with Grogu too. I'll just throw that out there since you mentioned Grogu. Like, I just love the story of like them understanding that they need to learn how to use the power that they wield, whether it's the dark saber or the Force or whatever. Chris, do you have a great?
Yeah, just all of episode 5. Obviously, this is like, that was like a Mandalorian episode, season 2.5, basically. Why they didn't just kick it to season 3, episode 1, I don't understand. But just overall, great episode. Like Brian said, anytime Djinn shows up, it's great. Good storytelling in that episode.
Yeah, I think the only tough thing for me in that episode was the car building montage. And then when the lady's like, "Oh, listen to that baby purr," I was like, I don't really need that in Star Wars. And then that she dated a Jawa, I was like, again, I don't need that in Star Wars. Like, I don't care who you date. Like, how does that add to the story? But anyway, yeah, but that was when it got good. Like Mandalorian.
So did you not like the actually building the Naboo starfighter, or did you enjoy that?
No, that was fine.
Okay.
I actually liked it. It took it was a little long, I would say. Overall, it was fine. Like, it was just like the montage, and then like the like, I think Travis said them trying too hard to be funny at sometimes. And then when he turned it on, she's like, "Listen to that baby purr." I'm like, that is so like a 1970s car montage moment, like on Grease Lightning or whatever. That's immediately what I thought of. But
yeah, I thought the same thing. That went on like a little too long. Like it felt like it was like a 10-minute long sequence, and we probably could have gotten the gist in like a minute or two.
Right, even 5 if you want to draw it out a little bit, but it was like half the episode, I felt like. So I'm gonna go into one of my greats, Cad Bane showing up. I like, one of the things I love is villains. Like, I'm a big villain guy. I'm always rooting for the villain all the time, and Cad Bane showing up was so awesome. I thought they did a really good job with him. I will have one little gripe with, I feel like that was a little out of character for Cad Bane, but overall, I think we all wanted a live version of Cad Bane, and him showing up in this series was excellent. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I had Cad Bane in my good, and just his introduction into this was very good, specifically for like the world building. But I do have a gripe as well with it. Interested to see if we have the same gripe with him.
Okay, yeah, and you can go ahead and bring that up when we get to your good if you'd like to
Okay,
nail on that gripe.
sounds good.
That was the first time I'd ever seen him. I don't know if I'd ever even heard of him before. So
You never watched
It
the Clone
was
Wars?
interesting. No, I've never seen it.
Oh, you're bad.
But I thought he was, I mean, it was for not having any background or knowing anything about him. I thought it was a pretty cool character. I don't know how well like the voice for me, how well like the voice matched because it was very like human-y. You know what I mean? But you know, he was cool. He had cool equipment. He had flamethrower gauntlets and interesting vibe.
He's also supposed to have like rocket boosters on the end of his boots, which he didn't use at all, which I thought that would have been super cool if they would have used it at the end of the series. But
yeah, their jetpack usage throughout the entire series was very limited, and it should have been utilized a lot more.
100% agree. Travis, what did you think of Cad Bane showing up? Because you've seen Clone Wars and Rebels, right? So
Yeah, so as soon as they like did the picture of him walking towards the town in the distance, I immediately was like, I bet that's Cad Bane coming. So I kind of was hoping it was him. I had no idea it was going to show up, but so I was glad it was him. And I thought overall they did pretty good with him, but I'm curious to see if Brian and I have the same gripe with him because I have one thing wrong.
Is it that he died?
Well, that too. So we'll put that on two.
yeah, we'll get to that. No guessing right now, but we all have one gripe when it came to Cad Bane, so we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go around the room and see if we got another great for everybody. Chris, do you have another great?
Yeah, I mean, Grogu is always just fun. I think they sort of like leaned into it. Like, I'm not saying they did it on purpose per se, because they knew they were having like not a great series, but they really just leaned into like Grogu cuteness. It was like, oh, he's making gurgly sounds like nonstop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, but that was fun. Like, I'm not saying I didn't like that at all. That was good, but it was like they really were like trying to remind you, like, oh, he's just a cute little fella, isn't he?
This is why you're here.
Yeah. It would be nice if they could get him some clothes that fit, though. At some point, somebody might look at him and be like, man, if only he could walk like without a trash bag over him, like a knapsack or whatever it is.
I was trying to think, are they still doing like most of his stuff was done with puppets? Are they still trying that, or is it more leaning towards like CGI?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like they go back and forth. Just watching.
I feel like a lot of the stuff with Luke was a little bit more CGI, especially with like the Force moving. But it seemed like they were still trying to use a lot of the puppets for it, which might have to do with he can't see his feet. So
that's fair. That's fair. Travis, you got another great?
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think you would. I thought you were capped out at one or two. Brian, what about you? Another great?
Yeah, the Luke training, I thought that was a great, especially seeing more of a glimpse into how he's kind of building up the Jedi from there, kind of before what happens with like Kylo Ren and stuff. So getting a glimpse into that, if they ever move anything forward more into that, I think it was a good setup.
Yeah, no, I like that too. Did you like, did anybody have any complaints about his CGI at all? I thought it was well done considering,
I thought it was really well done. I know Chris had issues with his voice, but
yeah.
Well, I specifically just don't like, I mean, maybe Mark Hamill didn't want to do it. That's a very strong possibility. But I just don't like, so if you aren't aware, they went back and took audio from like 1979, 1980 and like Frankenstein, like lines together from like stuff that he said 40 years ago to make, it's like very like advanced ADR technology. to me, it just seems a lot simpler to hire the real person. And like, okay, maybe he's got like a kind of an older, like gravelier voice right now. I'm sure there's ways that they could auto-tune that baby and like smooth it out and make him sound younger. But instead they went in this route, and I don't think it was like super noticeably like bad or anything. It's more of like just a principle thing. Like they're doing like AI computer audio when you just have a real human being do it, or hire, if Mark Hamill doesn't want to do it, there's dozens of video games where they've done fake Lukes for years. Just hire, one of those people, and it's close enough.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't just try to get Mark Hamill to do it. Travis?
Yeah, with that, I didn't have any big complaints with that, because from the end of Mandalorian season 2, I remember they did like a side by side of like what Luke was in that episode, and then they had some other guy from the internet made a Luke better. So I thought it was an improvement from that.
Yeah, it was.
In this one. So I was like, I'm not gonna pick apart this, because they're saving this series right now by having him in.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fair. That's fair.
But also, it's just like, I mean, I like the internet at large wants Sebastian Stan to be like play him, and I mean that would be cool. But I'm just personally a fan of just having a human be there instead of like a CGI fake person. I mean, it wasn't like bad. It's just like, it's kind of weird to me to just have that instead of just like casting a human being.
Yeah, I thought it was, I liked him in, the last season of Mandalorian. And I thought just him as a one-off coming back with the CGI, I'm like, okay, that's cool to incorporate him. But if they're going to continue with more of this, with that moving forward, they can do it. It's just, it would be cool to have a real person in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody would rather just have a Sebastian. It's not a slap on Mark Hamill at all. It's just like, hey, we're going to move forward with the character that you helped create, and we just want to do it with a real being, and they can like just smooth out the edges. I don't think anyone would care about that at all. Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. Go ahead, Travis.
Brian, with what you said with the Jedi Temple, that, now correct me if I'm wrong, is Grogu the first student? Is that what he said he's going to be? I can't remember.
He said he's technically, I don't think he is, because he decided not to train there. So, I mean, he wanted Grogu to be his first student, but it seemed like Grogu chose a different path. So I don't think that was his first student. So,
okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I'll go with another grade I had. I said every episode without Boba Fett was great. So 5 and 6, those were great episodes. And it was just the opposite of what you guys said, which is basically Mando came in and saved the season. But mine was backwards. This is a Book of Boba Fett show, and every episode without Boba Fett was great. So that was one of my greats, unfortunately. But any other greats, guys? I went twice around. If you got another one, just no. Okay, let's go into the good. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed us discussing Boba Fett. If you'd like to hear the rest of what we had to say as far as the great, the good, the bad, and the ugly, also our ratings for Boba Fett, and changes that we would have made, and what we're expecting from the Obi-Wan series. If you'd like to listen to any of that, click on one of the links below to listen to the rest of the podcast. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we'll talk to you guys soon.